Computer. Okay. Hey. Oh, there's waiting room admit. Hi, everybody. My name is Adam Moskowitz. I'm otherwise known as Mr. Moo. Yes, I'm a grown man that likes to wear a cow costume. We do have a saying. We do have a saying here at CMI, which is Moo Ba Ma. If you're not sure what Moo Ba Ma stands for, cow goes moo, sheep goes ba, goat goes ma. Um, And if you have any questions about CMI, start throwing them in the chat. Um, the first thing I want to highlight, and you'll hear me say this a lot, I've already been like promoting that a lot, is that CMI is not a competition, right? So anybody that thinks CMI is a competition, CMI is not a competition. CMI is a community building event. CMI is unlike any other experience you will have in the cheese business. It's sort of like Cheese Camp with Jasper. It's kind of like ACS, but more intimate and specific. It is definitely a warm, fuzzy feeling. It usually um, it usually inspires and motivates people to be better at being a cheese professional. We still have a lot of people coming in. I had to do the waiting room. So what do I mean CMI is not a competition? I thought CMI was this crazy big party with a lunatic in a cow costume acting like a mad cow with foot and mouth disease. Um, that is all by design, in fact. And by design, I mean an unfortunate part of our success. That is what people think CMI is, because that's the tip of the iceberg. In reality, what CMI is that I built in my warehouse that direction. I built what I call the barnyard, which is a cheesemonger education space. That's right. I decided to make an education space built specifically for cheesemongers. It looks like a Swiss chalet, except it's in Long Island City, which is Queens of New York City. Um, right by the 7 train, also right by the G train. If that doesn't make sense to you, one day it will. Um, CMI was born out of my desire to have an event in my warehouse. I'm a former painter, poet, DJ. Um, and I would go to ACS and I'd get frustrated because it was too big. It was too big. I couldn't get into the sessions. The sessions were too crowded. Everything was too crowded. And I shockingly have a bit of social anxiety and was just like, what am I getting out of this? I want to do something a little bit more intimate. And I want to be focused. I want to be focused, right? Um, Cheesemonger Invitational is for cheesemongers by cheesemongers. I've never wavered from that since 2010. And so for 2.5 days in my barnyard education space, starting Thursday afternoon, all day Friday, and all day Saturday, you have guided tastings, interactive discussions with my hosts. Who are my hosts? Some might call them my sponsors, but to me, sponsors are slap a logo on it and act like a salesman. And that is not what happens at CMI. Yes, they are hosts that have given me money to be there, but they are there because they want to educate you, inspire you, and build a relationship with you. In fact, if a host gives a shitty presentation, I fucking bitch slap them. Oh, by the way, if you have an issue with a grown man cursing, CMI is not for you. I curse unapologetically. And I have actually fired hosts because they don't do what I ask, which is educate you and inspire you. If they act like a salesman, they get bitch slapped. And then they get excluded. Now, some of you are going to realize that there's a lot of repeat hosts. And for them, we inspire them to not repeat the same thing. We want to educate, inspire. Cheese is but a tool and a metaphor to engage and interact with you to awaken your senses and awaken society. So 2.5 days of private education for approximately 40 mongers from all over the United States, from all sizes and shapes of retailers. And that's who's in the room. So the room is going to be filled with cheesemongers ranging in age, and we're going to be taught by people like who's going to be there. Let's see. I'm going to be there. Um, Norbert from Cos Cookie is going to be there. Mateo Keeler is going to be there from Jasper Hill. Andy Hatch is probably going to be there. Um, California brings like ballers, like Lynn Giacomini from Point Reyes. Um, in short, the hosts are going to bring you some of the most important people in the business. In fact, some might call them cheese famous. In fact, they're just people like you and me, and you're going to learn that they want to be your friend as much as you want to be their friend. And there's going to be some moments where uh, you might be shy, but I pay attention and I don't allow you to get left behind. And that's really the driving force of CMI: community, community, community. Yes, there is an event on Sunday that looks and smells like a competition. Yes, that is true. But I prefer to call it a cheesemonger obstacle course. And what I mean by that is it's private, first and foremost. I rent out a nightclub called Brooklyn Steel. Just to give you scope or comparison, Brooklyn Steel is the venue that LCD Sound System does their what's the right word, residencies in. So it's a really cool big nightclub in Brooklyn. And what we do is on Sunday set up a cheesemonger obstacle course. What does that look like? You will have a desk. At your desk, you will take a written test. All of the questions for the written test will be based off the Oxford Companion for Cheese. Then you will have a taste test where you have to identify 5 PDO cheeses, PDO cheeses, PDO cheeses. Not PDO cheeses that are trickery, PDO cheeses that are available in America, for they'll be bought in America. We're then going to have to cut a quarter pound. You're then going to have to wrap a quarter pound in paper. You're then going to have to wrap a quarter and a half wheel in saran wrap. You're then going to have to do a smell test, an aroma test approximately 6 times. You're then going to do a salesmanship challenge. We're going to create a cheese case for you with cheeses we're going to tell you ahead of time. And you're going to have to familiarize yourself with those cheeses ahead of time. And you'll have 5 minutes to sell a member of my jury one of those cheeses. You'll then do the perfect beverage, perfect plate, and perfect bite, what I call the food service rounds. We will assign you a cheese ahead of time for the perfect beverage, for the perfect plate, and perfect bite. There'll be 3 different cheeses. You will be instructed to try and find that cheese. Hopefully, you sell that cheese or contact the host, and they will mail you that cheese for you to practice your perfect beverage, perfect plate, and perfect bite. And those are the rounds that make up the Cheesemonger obstacle course. And it sounds like a lot, and I'm not going to pretend it's not a lot, but I am going to stress that it's in fact a lot of what you already do, right? It's a written test about a book that you hopefully have, you don't necessarily need, and it's just points. Cut a quarter pound, you do. Wrap a quarter pound, you do. If you don't use paper, we'll send you the paper. You just have to contact Formaticom. Wrap a half a wheel and a quarter wheel with saran wrap. I'm confident all of you do that. You guys all know how to smell. If you don't know how to smell, I apologize I apologize on behalf of God, in fact, for him taking away your smell, or them taking away your smell, it taking away your smell. You're not going to do well in the aroma challenge. I'm just going to tell you right now. If you can't smell. You're probably not going to do good on the taste test either. In fact, if you can't smell, I really want to talk to you offline about how you're a cheesemonger. But I digress, which I do often. The salesmanship challenge is just what you do for a living. The perfect beverage, perfect plate, and perfect bite. Those are the higher level rounds, but I'm confident all of you drink with your cheese. Do you have to make a crazy cocktail with alcohol? No. In fact, one person one time served us Topo Chico, and it was fucking brilliant. It doesn't have to be alcoholic. One time somebody served us bone broth, and it was fucking brilliant. Anyway, tea, you get the point. The perfect plate is a composed cheese plate, and I'm confident all of you do that on a regular basis. And then the perfect bite, it's a little chefy. It's a little chefy. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little chefy. It's a little chefy. But It's important to be a little chefy. Anyway, while that's all happening, all of my hosts are setting up 6 foot tables in the venue. And at 3 o'clock, we open the doors to what I call the Cheese Festival. It's kind of like the Festival of Cheese ACS used to have, where it's just table on table on table on table of free cheese. But that doesn't exist anymore, as I understand it. Doesn't matter, and you will have an opportunity to then see what your fellow cheesemongers did in their food service rounds, coupled with interacting with the hosts. Then at about 5 o'clock, we're going to start the stage show, and the stage show continues to evolve. It used to just be me acting like an idiot in a cow costume. We then started having songs and cabaret. I'm working on getting a dance recital happening. There might be a fiddle player. We're going to do a fondue demo. I'm trying to make this as weird and funny and educational as possible. Cut to, we then announce the 6 finalists. The 6 finalists come up on stage and we run them through the finals. So anybody that's like, I got stage fright, the finals happens at the way end of the event. It's designed so you're fucking exhausted. And the finals, if you make it up there, happen so fast that I'm there with you in a cow costume that there's no way you could be nervous. And so, how am I doing here on time? I'm doing good. So if you are CMI curious, because that's what this call is, it's the first time we've ever done this call. If you're CMI curious, here's what I could tell you in earnest. It is so very rare that somebody is disappointed in participating. So often I have actually personally got on a phone call with somebody. Usually what I do with CMI curious is I call them. And I am 100% successful in convincing them, and then more importantly, see them thrive. For me, it's not about winning. If in fact you win this event, you're not allowed to compete anymore. But in truth, I think everybody that participates is a winner. You get a ridiculous gift bag. You get personal relationships with some of the best and the brightest in the cheese business. You do, in fact, make new friends. I've seen it time and time again. We crack you out of your shell. You are not, if you're an introvert, guess what? You're not alone. Most people in the cheese business are introverts. You know what it's like putting a bunch of introverts in the room together? It's very quiet. Just kidding. They, in fact, become extroverts. Um, and so, uh, what I truly believe from the center of my heart is it's one of the best experiences you can give yourself. You're not too old. We're not ageist. You're not too old to participate. You're not too young to participate. You're not too new to cheese. In fact, the people that are newest to cheese often get the most out of this experience because it's a crash course. And in fact, the people that have been in cheese the longest realize that they still too have so much to learn. Um, and now I'm going to open it up to questions. The first question I got, where should we stay and do we have to pay to participate? Where you should stay. We're going to give you some recommendations. Um, the education days are located at my warehouse, Larkin Cold Storage. And so finding residents near there is always a good idea. But other people can find, there's like a really good hostel in like Nolita, downtown Manhattan, that's not that expensive. You just have to then rock the subway. So I don't know how comfortable everybody is with rocking a subway. There's there's a like hotel motel right around the block from Larkin, but you're gonna have to walk through a migrant camp, so that might make you uncomfortable. And I wouldn't let my wife do it, so I wouldn't encourage you to do it. Um, Not to get weird or political. It's just weird and strange. Anyway, I digress. Do you have to pay to participate? No. We do not charge you guys. In fact, I invest a tremendous amount of money in your seats. Your gift bags, when you get it, are going to be hundreds of dollars worth of gear. I bring in a really quality breakfast and lunch every day. We also have dinner for you, so we serve you 3 squares, and I don't just buy some like shit ass boar's head bullshit. There will be no boar's head in the building at all. Anyway, sorry, I get a little bit upset when I hear that name. It just fucking pisses me off. What a fucking shitty company. Anyway, so that answers those questions. Does anybody else have any questions? Can we bring one guest? That's a great question. So you everybody will get one guest to the actual party on Sunday at 3 p.m. Everybody will get one guest for the party that opens doors at 3 p.m. For the education days, unfortunately, due to a limited size, you will not be able to bring a guest. I've in fact had people show up with their wife and their child in a baby carriage, and I had to turn away the wife and the baby. And I did so begrudgingly, but I did. So you cannot have a guest for the education days, which is why we're doing this. What you can have is your coworkers come with you, right? That's really what you should do. You should do this with a coworker. In fact, even if you don't bring a coworker, you should be working on this with your coworkers. What I've noticed and what I love to hear and makes me so happy is when people tell me how they're working on their perfect beverage with their customers and with their coworkers. Can someone attend the education days without being a CMI competitor? I get that question a lot, and the answer is absolutely not. That's one of the reasons. That's one of the main. So, like, the only rule to participating in CMI is you're currently employed as a cheesemonger, and the only other rule I have is in order to enjoy the education days, which I'm going to be very clear, the 2.5 days of education with CMI, there is no better education you could get in the cheese business. You won't counterculture, love them to bits, not even close. I participate in those, love them to bits, not even close. The education you're going to get at ACS, not even close, because it's not as intimate, the cheese isn't as good, et cetera, et cetera. So the trade-off is participate in the education days means participate in the Cheesemonger Invitational. Now, have I seen cheesemongers purposefully do bad on the written test and the cut test so they don't have to even consider being part of the finals? Yes, I've seen that. I've seen people throw the competition. So that is an option, but well, this be a they're coming. The questions are coming in hot. I love it. So unfortunately, we do not allow people to just come to the education days. I get that question a lot, and that to me is a really important question to be discussed. The education days are worth the trial and tribulation of the competition day. Can multiple people from one company attend and compete? Yes, multiple people can come from one company, right? Right now we have 16 people signed up. I'm going to close it at 40. So yeah, man, the more the merrier. Let's go. I have celiac, severe gluten allergy. Will this be a problem? No. Celiac shouldn't be a problem. I'm gluten free. I'm not celiac, but I'm gluten free. So I do make sure there are gluten-free options at breakfast, lunch, and dinner during the education days. I can't promise you that there won't be gluten in the room. There will be gluten in the room, but we won't we won't force you to eat gluten. So I'm actually curious, the celiac Anna can you be in the room with gluten? Where's Anna? Maybe Anna can't talk. Oh, there she is.
Have it in the room. I just can't physically eat it or eat anything that has touched it, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. I don't think that will happen. And because you are celiac, I'll make a very important note to my production team that they understand that. We will take, so far, I'm very proud to say, so far, we've been doing this since 2010. I haven't killed anybody with CMI. Pretty proud of that fact. I see Margaret taking notes on that. Yes, Margaret, nobody has died yet from CMI. Good note. That shouldn't be a problem. It's a cheese. Like the cheese. There's no like. There might actually, this begs an interesting question. Anna, would you eat blue cheese? We'll see if she comes back to that. Great. All right. So there you go. That's the only thing. Like there will be Roquefort probably at the event. Beyond that, I don't think that should be a problem. And I just also think we just have to like treat it and be cognizant of it to make sure it's not a problem. We do have gluten-free options, like I said, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I can make sure that they make sure it's segregated so it doesn't touch. And then during the competition itself, it's cheese and cheese only. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Okay, how about reservations? Who has reservations? Who's like, why should I do this? Justin? Justin's off. Great. Cheese Stop of Salem. Have I moved the needle for you at all?
I mean, I think definitely. I mean, I mean, it's already interested before, but I'm definitely even more interested now for sure. I mean, I've only been cheesemongering for a year, so it's definitely, I'm very new to this, but no, this seems really interesting. Seems like you get to learn a lot. And I mean, I guess I'm a little bit more interested in like, you said that there's like different hosts. So the education lasts from Friday and Saturday. Is that my understanding correct?
Yeah.
Tuesday, Friday, Saturday? Okay.
We start Thursday afternoon, late
Mm-hmm.
afternoon. We do like an intro with me, what it means to be a cheesemonger, and then my company. I own Columbia Cheesemaker to Monger, so we'll
Mm-hmm.
do that night. We do a raclette night that night, and then Friday and Saturday is jam packed. 7 hours, 7 hours of education both days. So there's about 14, 16, about 16 to 18 hours of education provided throughout the event. Which also like it really kind of surprises me to this day that shop owners and managers don't seem to understand that this is actually work, that you're going to actually work, you're going to learn. It's part, you will be a better, um, um, I, I, I got caught off guard. Let's talk offline. I'd like to talk offline with you.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, I was talking to somebody else. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
I'm 50 years old. I'm very bad at multitasking. I apologize. I'm like fucking an idiot. I I consistently and habitually hear that the education days are some of the best days people have ever experienced in cheese. It gives you unfettered access to some of the most important people in cheese. You will taste more cheese in 2 days than you've ever tasted in your life. You're going to taste cheese as the cheese is ultimately intended. Let me replay that so you fully understand what I just said. You're going to taste cheese as it's purposefully and always intended. Because often you guys get cheese down the supply chain. And so what you're going to be experiencing is cheese fresh off the boat, fresh out of the cellar. In and of itself, that's reason enough to be there. Um, you are at on the competition days, you are never going to feel left behind. And if you trip and fall on the competition day, we will pick you back up and cheer you on. Everybody is cheering everybody on. It's wild to watch people really cheer on other people cutting a quarter pound, wrapping a quarter pound, and wrapping a half a wheel of cheese. I have the chills just thinking about it. It is one of the highlights of my life. It is surely one of the highlights of my career. It is unlike anything I've ever experienced before. It's so surreal that we together as new friends and family and colleagues and peers, how we all help each other become better at what we do. It is fucking mind blowing. And it is okay. I've got more questions coming in. Hold on a sec. Um, this year. I will be doing CMI for as long as I can. For anybody that's wondering if CMI will continue, to many people's surprise, we've been doing it since 2010. It's now 2025. I've done them in California. I've done them in Chicago. We do masters events. I've done over 25 events for CMI, and I plan on continuing to do them for the foreseeable future. I've made a documentary film about CMI, which hopefully will be released in the next 12 months. CMI is my favorite thing. It is not my only job. Will our guests be able to come to dinner after education events? Great question, Margaret. And yes, they can. Yes, they can. I want to repeat that. For dinners, you are welcome to bring your plus one. How far in advance will we find out what cheeses we're going to be composing bites with? Great question. I would say you will. We're going to, for those that sign up, we're going to have like a true monger welcome Zoom where I go item by item, event by event, And that, I believe I said, is April 28th, which means I will probably give you the cheese assignments. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I have to look at um my wife sent the email, welcome packet, welcome packet. Yeah, we will notify you of your cheese assignments probably around May 5th. What we do there, again, this is all about community. Like that's the thing. Like I'll be really honest. If you find me really annoying and don't like me after this call, you shouldn't come to CMI because my vibe is a big part of the event. But if this is kind of funny and fun for the assignments, I actually do another Zoom where we pull out of a hat so everybody knows it's fair and everybody gets the assignment when we record that and then send it out. So we kind of even make that like a fun, exciting, weird, what is happening? Is this really happening type experience? Um, so to answer your question, you will know about your cheese assignments the first week of May. The people competing are truthfully the kindest people you ever meet. Everyone is also supportive. Yes, Henry Parker, the youngest person to ever compete at CMI came through last year at the age of 14. 14. He still could not drink as many Red Bulls as I did because I am a badass. I drank 7 Red Bulls one day. You didn't beat that, Henry. And you're not going to be allowed to this time. I'm not going to let, I'm going to put it, I'm going to, you're not allowed to drink as many Red Bulls this time. Anyway, let's not digress. No, I don't know how familiar everybody is with the cheese community, but like this is one of those cheese family moments that like what's wild is I've watched people put participating in CMI on their resume. I've seen people put I made it to the finals on their resume. I think making it to the finals on stage is a good goal. I have seen people participate and then come back and do better. We give we give you your scores. You get scores and feedback from the jury. The jury is a jury of your peers. That jury will give you feedback. The coolest thing for me is seeing people that, let's say, score in the bottom third and come and make it to the finals the following year. I unequivocally know and believe that this makes people better at their job. Any other questions? Silence. Silence. Speak now. Hold your peace. So excited. Yeah, I'm so excited too. I love that Edix is here. That means you got my email. That makes me so good, dude. That's me. I'm doing that personally. I am spending hours just fucking finding websites. I was using culture cheese's back of the thing, and I was going through it and like Googling who are the good cheese shops around the world. And like I'm personally like that by the way, I got the chills. That's like what CMI is, right? That like I am I don't know if you know me. I don't know what you think about me. I know that the internet's very kind to me. I work very hard in the cheese business, but CMI is my baby, and I go in it one on one. Like nobody gets left behind. I am talking directly to you. Like I love cheese, I love cheesemongers, and I love our community, and my life is dedicated to it. And so, like at the very least, if you come to CMI, I guarantee I'll make you cry. Guaranteed. Guaranteed, because I cry the whole time. I cry. I'm a crier. I'm a crier. I am. Anyway, um, questions, comments? Julie, what do you think? You coming? What's up? What are you thinking?
I hope I'm coming. I was a volunteer for you last year.
Right. Yes. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. And where do you come from?
I'm in Philly.
Awesome. Well,
The champion was from Philly.
yes, he was.
He worked in Narberth in my neighborhood.
I love it.
Yeah. Anyway, everything he said, I can't underscore enough. I got there as a volunteer, I don't know, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm not a morning person. And when it was all over at 9-ish, 10, whatever, all I can think of is I want to do this again next year. I had no exhaustion, and I love this community. Everyone, every single thing that Adam said is it's minuscule in comparison to the true experience.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
I beat my
I have the
drum.
chills too. I have the
Yeah.
chills just saying all that.
I beat my drum for y'all to come. I beat my drum for y'all to come. And sometimes it feels like pulling teeth, but I don't mind being the dentist.
He didn't pay me to say any of this. I hope I can volunteer also on Thursday and Friday and Saturday.
Contact Melissa. She's in charge.
I hope.
Tony, what do you think? How you doing? Sorry, not to cut you off, Julie.
No, no, this is awesome. I'm thrilled. Like,
Good.
I have been, as I think I told you, a little intimidated by this for a long time, and I'm so excited to understand better what it's about, and I'm thrilled. I'll be there with balls on.
Great. And I you know what? I think life is really challenging, especially right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think life is intimidating, and I think the world at large is trying to galvanize us with fear. And I think the only way out is through. And I think the way through is with community. And I think the way through with community is by being true to our passions and being silly, and also being around people that are inspiring, motivated, and like-minded. So
Absolutely.
So that's that's how we deal. That's how we deal. Cool. All right, 35 minutes. 30 minutes, really, in fact. Does anybody have any, I want to before I stop recording, I want to make sure any questions are answered. Does anybody have any more questions? Edicts? Questions? Okay, I'm going to stop recording.